Hey, this is René, welcome back for another programming tutorial on this channel. And a lot of you guys were wondering how to create this reversal sweep strategy. I made a previous video already where I showed the performance tested with 100% tick data over the last 8 years. If you haven't watched it yet, you should go watch it. And in this video, we will have a look at how to build this specific strategy. So first of all, let me explain the strategy real quick. Again, it's a really easy strategy based on candlestick patterns, I would say. So for example, here we currently have this open sell position, and this position was opened because we had a specific amount of green candles. In this case, I have 4 in the settings, so we need at least 4 consecutive green candles, and we do have them 1, 2, 3, 4. And then with the next red candle, this is our entry trigger. We will trigger the position or open the position at the beginning or with the open price of the next candle. So we need 4 candles into one direction, 1 candle into the other direction to indicate the counter signal, and then we just go with the flow, enter the trade, and see if we can be profitable. Stop loss is for this strategy at the high, in this case for sell positions, at the high of this candlestick formation. And for buy positions, we see one here, it's at the low, of course. So here again, we had 1, 2, 3, 4, at least 4 positions that had or 4 falling positions, falling candles, and then we had the reversal candle for the entry signal. I just realized that this candle is not really red. The open price is the same as the close price. So you can do it like this, or you can say that this would break the pattern and do not take this trade, but it's completely up to you. So I will in the following show you how to build this very strategy. So let's have a look at it together, right? So in the MetaTrader 5, first of all, we will go to Tools and then MetaQuartz Language Editor. This will open the integrated development environment that we can use to write code for expert advisors and strategies, essentially. So here on the very left side, we can go and click on New. Then we can go to Expert Advisor Template, click on Next, and choose a name for the program. This time I will choose the name Reverse Sweep YouTube. And then click on Next, Next, and Finish. You can choose any name, of course. You don't have to choose the same name as I did here. So first of all, let me rearrange the code a bit. So I deleted all the properties at the top, and now I'm deleting all the gray lines because they are essentially just comments for the developer, and they do not have any impact on the program. Also, personally, I like to rearrange my curly brackets like this. So now we have 3 functions left. These functions are so-called event handling functions. So if we run the program in a chart, these functions will be called if there is a specific event. For example, the onInit function will automatically be called if the program is activated or if the time frame is changed and a new time frame is initialized. The onDNet is called when the program is removed from the chart or when a old time frame is changed to a new time frame. And then we have the onTick function, which is in most cases the most important function for a program, because this function will be executed with every single tick. So this is where we want to put our main the main part of our code, right? Let me explain this to you. So the program is now a text file pretty much, and if you click on compile up here, it will take this text file and turn it into a executable. It will then automatically be available in the MetaTrader 5. So if you go to the navigator of your MetaTrader 5 and go to Expert Advisors, you should see the program here already. So I see the reversal sweep here now, and I can drag and drop it on any chart. So you can see it's now running in this chart. And for example, with every single tick, the onTick function is triggered. So in the onTick function, we will now check for this pattern. We will check first if the last candle was a buy or a sell candle, or a green or a red candle. So we can do so by checking the open and close price. So if the open price is smaller or below the close price of the last candle, then the last candle is green, right? So what we want to do is we want to get the open price of the last candle, and we can do so using the IOpen function. The IOpen function is a function which is part of the mql5 framework. You can have a look at the mql5 reference if you just press F1 on your keyboard. If the cursor is inside of any default function of the mql5 framework, you will automatically open the entry for this specific function. So it will return the open price of a specified bar, and the bar has to be specified in the parameters of this function. The function parameters can be listed after the function name, and they are always wrapped by these round brackets. So what we do here is we define the symbol, and I will just choose underscore symbol, which is a system variable. And if we have a look at the reference here again, we can see this will also always hold the symbol name of the current chart. So right now it would be euro/US dollar. Then we need the time frame, and here we have another quick fix pretty much to choose the chart time frame by providing period current. So you can see we can use any of these chart time frames here, and period current will always give the current time frame of the chart. So right now it would be H1 here, the 1 hour time frame. And then the last parameter is the shift value. So the shift value always starts at the very right side, so at the last candle in a bar. This is shift value 0. The last or the previous candle would be shift value 1, this would be 2, and then we have 3, 4, 5, etc., etc. So here we need the open price of the last bar, so we will go with 1. Since we called this function will be processed by the MetaTrader or by the computer, and then it will return the open price of the last bar. And this open price will then pretty much, it will be placed, so to say, at the position of this function. So this is why we can then store it in a variable. And this is a so-called variable that I created using this double here. So we write the type of the variable first and then the name of the variable. This is the declaration of a variable, like this. This means to the PC that at some point we will need a double type variable. And a double type variable, you can of course read about this in the documentation, it can hold real types or floating point types. In the end, it just means that there can be numbers stored inside of this variable that have a decimal point. So anything like this. And since we have the open price of a bar, this is of course a number with a decimal point, because prices usually have a decimal point. This is why we need a double variable. So if we do it like this, we then declare this variable of type double named open1, because shift value is 1, and then we store the return value of this IOpen function in this variable. In the end, we just need the semicolon to end the line. Okay, so we can now use the exact same process here to get the close price of the last bar. So I will not explain everything in detail. It's pretty much the same. We declare a variable. This time it's close1. It's just the name for the variable, and we use the return value of the iClose function. The iClose function is also part of the mql5 framework, and it works exactly as the IOpen function, but instead of the open price, it will return the close price. So what we can do next is we can check if the open is smaller than the close, because this means we have the last bar was green, right? And if this is not true, then we want to check if the open is greater than the close price for the last bar, because this means last bar was red, right? So what we did here is we used this if statement. This is a if statement which can be used to check simple conditions. So if is just the code word for this control structure, and then you always have these round brackets following the if. In these round brackets you have a condition. A condition can be built using these logical operators. So we can say, for example, one value should be smaller than another value, and this is what you can achieve using this smaller sign. So we're checking if this value in this variable is smaller than the value in this variable, and this means it would be a green candle, which was the last candle. So after closing the condition round bracket, we then have a curly bracket, which will wrap the body of this if statement. So if this condition is true, we will then enter the body of this if statement and process whatever is written here. If this condition is not true, we will not enter the body. Instead, we will go here directly to line 19. Here we have a else if statement, and whenever a if statement is connected with another if statement like this, we then first check this condition. If this condition is not true, we will then check this one. And here we check, of course, if the last candle was red. If it was red, we will enter the body of this if statement or else if statement. So you can see either way, we will in most cases enter one of these bodies of these if statements. The only way or the only situation when this does not happen is if the open price of the last bar is exactly the same as the close price. But here we will enter one or another, and we can say here we want a print function here, and this says green or red. Depends on what the last candle was. So you can see if you then go back to your MetaTrader, and if you have the program running in a chart, you can go to the toolbox. If you don't see it, click on View Toolbox, and here you can go to Experts. And here you will see this will now print green with every single tick, because the code is in the onTick function, and with every single tick, the last bar was green, right? So yeah, there we go. Last bar is green. Everything's working just fine. We could also go ahead and say we do not only want to print green, we also want to print open and close. So you can see that indeed the open and the close price of the last candle is stored in these variables. So this is how you can get the values of specific bars. And this is pretty much all you need to know for this EA to build it, because now, or for this strategy, because now we can just go ahead and check the previous bars, right? So we do not only check the last bar, but we also check the 4, 5, or 6 bars before this bar. And yeah, that's actually what we will do next. So first of all, I want to create an input variable with a number of bars that we want to check here. So I will call this trend bars, and let's go with 3 first. And this variable, since it is declared on a global scale, which means it's outside of any of these functions, and it has this input modifier, this will make it an input variable, or a variable that the user can change in the inputs of the EA. So if you just click a double click on this little head sign in the upper right corner of the chart where the reversal sweep program is running, you will see it will open the inputs, and here we have the trend bars. So the user of the program is able to change this easily from 3 to 4 or 5 or 2 or whatever he wants to change it to. So now we have this variable, we can use it in our source code, and we want to use it here. For example, when we have the last bar, which was a green bar, we want to check if we had before this green bar, if we had 3, 4, 5, or 6 red bars. So whenever we have a variable size of a variable amount of steps that we want to process, this is when we want to use a for loop. So let me create this for loop quickly, and then I will explain it. So for int I is equal to 1, I is smaller than trend bars plus 1, I plus plus. Something like this. And yeah, this should be good to go. Okay, so what I did here is, in the body of this if statement here, so whenever this condition is true, we will go here. And here the program will find the for loop, which is indicated with this for keyword. In this for loop, or following the for keyword, we always have these round brackets. In these round brackets, we have 3 different sections. The first one is the so-called precondition, or the initialization section. I don't know what the formal term is. But here, this will be processed once whenever we enter the for loop. And here we create a new integer variable. The name is I and the number in this variable is 1 when it is initialized. Oh, I forgot to explain what an integer variable is. An integer variable can be any number, but decimal numbers are not allowed. So it's something like this. These are integer numbers. And the difference to double values should be obvious. Integer numbers do not have a decimal point. That's it. And then after the first precondition here, we have the main condition of the for loop. So before every execution of the for loop's body, we check this main condition. So here we are essentially just checking if the value in this variable I is smaller than trend bars, the value in this variable, plus 1. So we're just checking in the first run of this loop if I or 1 is smaller than trend bars, 3 plus 1. If I is smaller than 4. If this is true, we then enter the body of this for loop. This is the body of the for loop. So we will process whatever is written here. After processing the body of the for loop, we then have this final part of the for loop pretty much. And this one is processed after every run of the body of this for loop. So after running through the body, we will then increase I by 1. So this I++ is the same as writing I plus 1. It's just a shorter for. And you will often see for loops defined like this. So you first declare a integer variable, the name is usually I, and then in the end you increase I by 1 or you decrease I by 1, depends if you want to, like in which direction you want to iterate through this loop. And then you have some kind of main condition. So what we do here is, we just loop. If trend bars is 3, we will loop 3 times with I having the values 1, 2, and 3. And yeah, this should be it. So what we do here in the body now, here again, we get the open and the close. So let me just write this here again. So double open, and this time we'll get the open at I. So what I do here is I use I open for the symbol, for the chart period, and the shift value is I, of course. I. Then we have the same thing for the close. I close, symbol, period current, I. And here what we want to do is we want to check if every bar that we are checking here, and we are checking the bars at index 1, 2, and 3. Wait, we don't want to check 1, because 1 is this bar that we check here. So we want to start at 2, at index 2, which is this bar, and we want to check this, this, and this bar, and we want to check for a buy trigger signal of if these bars are all red. So what we want to do is we want to check if open at I is greater than close at I. This means the bar is red. Or in fact, we want to check if we have a green bar, because in this case, we want to say is trend is false, because in this case, we don't have a trend. And this is trend variable has to be created first, and it will be a Boolean variable. So a Boolean variable, it's not a int, it's not a double. Instead, it's a bool. So Boolean variables can only be true or false. So it can only hold 2 different values. True can also be 1, false can also be 0, but it's always either true or false. So what we are checking is if we have a clear trend, so a sell trend, which is then broken by this green candle. And here we are checking if in the last 3 bars before the trigger candle, if we have any green candle, it's not the trend that we are searching for. It's not a short trend. So what I want to do next is I want to check if is trend. It's another if statement. We are just checking if is trend is true or false. And since it can only be true or false, this one variable is enough to build the whole condition. If it's true, then we want to buy, and otherwise, we don't do anything. So here we now want to open a buy position. And whenever we want to open a buy position in the MetaTrader 5, the easiest way to do so is to use a class called ctrade. So at the very top of your program, you want to write this little hashtag sign, and then you want to write include. And here in these spiky brackets, or a smaller than and a greater than sign, you want to write trade/trade.mqh. And if you compile, you can see no error, nothing. But here in the toolbox, we see that we are compiling a lot more files now. And this is because we now have access to the ctrade class, which is defined in this file. This is a little bit complex. I will not go into the topic of object-oriented programming in this video, but I made a video about this on the channel already. And if you want to learn everything about mql5 programming, so you always know what to do and you're not dependent on external developers anymore, you can check out the link in the video description. You will find a complete course where I explain everything, also object-oriented programming. But for this video, we just need to know that now we can use this ctrade class and declare or create object variables of type ctrade, like I did here. So this is just the declaration of a variable pretty much, but in this case, it's an object variable. And this object, it has access to all the functions and some variables, or the public functions and variables of the ctrade class. Again, this is a little bit complex. I will not go into detail here, but what we need to know here is that we can now use this trade object to open trades. And this is what we want to do here, right? So we can say, instead of writing this comment, we want to open an actual position. So write trade, which is the name of this ctrade object variable, and then we have access to all these functions that are suggested here. And we see the first one is this buy function, and this is what we want to use. Since this is a function, it has parameters, or it can have parameters, and we will find the parameter list if we open the round brackets for the parameters. Here we now have to provide a volume, and this is the position size. So we can go with 1 lot, 0.1, 0.01, and I would always suggest to make this another input variable. So just say input double. It's a double, of course, because it can have a decimal point and stuff. And here we want to say lots, and we go with 0.1 maybe as a default value. So now we can use this lots variable here to say how many lots we want to buy or sell. Then we have the symbol. We will go with underscore symbol again, of course, and then we can provide the price we want to open, the stop loss for the position, and the TP. Right now I write 0, 0, 0 because we don't want to put the TP and stop loss already. So what we did here essentially is we just created the part that will check if we have a sell trend and if this trend was broken here. So we are good to go to open buy positions, right? So if you compile your program and if you copied everything correctly, you can go to the MetaTrader 5, close the toolbox, and instead open the strategy tester. And in the strategy tester, you can now suggest or choose an expert by clicking here on this drop-down menu, and I will go with a reverse sweep YouTube program, which is the one that I just created. Then you choose the symbol that you want to test, the time frame, and a period. I will just go with some month in the current year because I just want to quickly test if everything's good to go. You can also change the inputs, but right now I don't want to do this, and I just want to start in the lower right corner. This will start a backtest for me. And I can use this backtest to check if my program is working correctly. So what I want to do is I want to check if we see a buy position, and yes, we do. So you can see 1, 2, 3 sell positions, 1, 2, 3 red candles, 1 green candle, and with the beginning of the next candle we enter this buy position. So this is working so far. Only problem is that we open a lot of positions, and this is what we want to fix next. So basically this strategy can open or should open only 1 position per bar, right? Because at the beginning of this bar, we want to check the 4 previous bars for the signal, and then we only want to open the trade once. So what we want to do here is we want to create another global variable, and we will call this one bars total. So this bars total variable, it's a global variable, which means that it will live as long as the program is active on the chart, and it will not be changed if we do not change it in the code. And in the onTick function, we will create another variable which might look similar. It's also an integer variable, but this time it's called bars. And in this bars variable here, we want to store the return value of the ibars function. And the ibars function, you can read it in the documentation, of course, it returns the number of bars in the current chart. So what we want to do here is we want to specify the chart in the parameters. So again, symbol, period current for the current chart. And then we want to check if total bars or bars total is different than the value in this bars variable. If this is the case, we want to update the bars total variable. And then in this if statement's body, we want to put all of our code that we have here. So let me show it to you. We take all of this code, mark it, and then with a tabulator button on your keyboard, you can move it to the right. So you know that this is part of the body of this if statement. Also, if we compile this, it will give us an error because I did not close the curly bracket of the body of this if statement. And this is what I want to do here. Always to do yourself the favor and move everything inside of the body of a control structure a little bit to the right with the tabulator button, so you can see it makes the code easier to read. So what we are doing here is we are essentially just checking if we have a new bar in the chart. And if so, we will update the value in the bars total variable. So with the next tick, these values will be the same and we do not enter the body again. So what this does is the following. I will show you the same test here, but this time you will see we will only open one by position. So you can see there is the signal and we only open one by position this time. Of course, if we do see more signals, we will open more by positions. But yeah, this is what the program is supposed to do. So next is we need to add the stop loss and the a take profit if we want to have a take profit. So what we want to do here is for this buy position, we want to first of all, before we open the buy position, we will need the ask price of the current symbol, and you can get it by using the symbol info double function. It is a function that can give us all kind of information for a specific symbol. In the parameters of this function, you will see the first parameter is just the symbol. So we'll go with underscore symbol as we know it. The second parameter then is a identifier that will show the function what specific value we want to have. In this case, we will go with symbol ask. So now we can use this ask price to calculate the TP, because we can say we want the TP to be ask plus a specific amount of points multiplied with the point value of the chart. So the point value is another system variable or predefined variable. It will always hold the point value for a specific or for the chart where the EA is running on. And the point value is just the smallest price change that is possible. So for example, for euro US dollar, it would be 0.00001. So for euro US dollar, this would be 1 point. If it would be running in USD Japanese yen with 3 digits after the decimal point, this would be a point. So it's always for the current chart. And yeah, these, like this. And the TP points is a variable that I want to declare as an input variable, so the user is able to change this. So we can say TP points and the default value should be 1000. So now this is enough to calculate the TP. So what we can do here is we can say the open price should be the ask price, and then we want to have the, stop loss is still 0, but now we have a value for the TP. So if we compile this and run the program again, we should see that we now have a TP for all of our trades, and the TP is 1000 points above the entry price. This is not the TP for this trade. This is the TP. So you can see it's always 1000 points. And now we still have to calculate the SL, right? The SL is a little bit more tricky because here we want to use the lowest candle of the last 4 or 5 or whatever, how many candles we have. So we need the I low function, which will give us the low of a specific candle. It's just the same as I open and I close, just for the low price of a candle. So the first parameter again is the symbol, second one is the period current. And now we could use a fixed shift value like 1, 2, 3, 4, what we did before. But this time we want to use the return value of the I lowest function, because this function, it will return the index of the lowest value in a specific, in a defined range of bars. Yeah, this is correct. So what we have to do here is we have to define the symbol, the chart time frame again, and then we say mode low, because we want to check the lows of the last X bars. And the last X bars are defined here. So it's the count, which is pretty much just trend bars plus 1 for us. And then we have the start, which is just 1. So we will start at the last bar. For example, here, this is the last bar. And then we will take trend bars plus 1, which is 4 in this case. So 4 bars. And we will have the lowest low of these 4 bars, and then we get the index. So in this case it would be index 0, 1, 2, 3, index 3 with this candle. And this is then the index that is used for the I low function for the shift value. So this will give us the stop loss. So now we can exchange this SL here, and if we run the program again, we should see that now the trades are still the same, but now they have a TP and a stop loss. So you can see the trades are now also closed if they hit the stop loss. So far so good. This is working quite fine, I think. But the problem is we do not open sell positions. So this is what we have to take care of. So now what we want to do is we just want to copy this whole block here. Copy. Because for sell positions, we have to do exactly the same. We just have to turn around some things. So we will get this is trend variable. Then we will loop through the trades. We get open and close prices, but we want to check if the open is above the close. Because in this case, we have a red candle, and this would break our trend, right? The rest is completely the same. Then we check if we have a trend. We get the bid price, because sell positions are based on the bid price. And then we have for the TP bid minus TP points. And for the stop loss, we of course have the high of the last X bars. So just exchange everything in these functions. And for all of these functions, like I low, I lowest, you always have a you usually have a function that also does the opposite. And then, of course, instead of buying, we want to sell. So if we compile this and run, and here we have to use bid, of course. So if we compile this and run it again, you should see that we now also open bid sell positions. And yeah, there is a sell position after 3 green candles. So you can see this is working just fine. There's maybe one last thing that we want to do, and we want to check before we open a new position. We can check if we have existing buy or sell positions. Or do we even want to do this? No, I think we don't want to do this. Maybe this is already fine. So yeah, the program is running as it is now. So you can see we can play around with the lot size, the TP points, and the trend bars. And if I go, for example, for 6 trend bars, we will see a lot less trades. But yeah, if you watch the video with the backtest, you saw already that this produces better results, for example, than using 3 or 4 bars only. So yeah, here you can see we now need at least 6 candles for a signal, and this was, for example, a buy signal. And yeah, we will trade all the signals now, buy and sell signals, automatically using this really simple and easy reversal sweep program. And yeah, that's it. So hope you liked this little tutorial. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. And if you are interested in learning more about automated trading for the MetaTrader 5, you should make sure to check out the link in the video description, because there you will find a complete course where you learn this and a lot more. So yeah, make sure to check it out, and I hope that you will be successful on your automated trading journey. Thanks for watching. Have a great time and good trades. Bye bye.